Hey everyone, so I have a base model iPad, the iPad 9, and then we also have the iPad Air 5 over here. So this one actually has the M1 processor in it, where the iPad, of course, does not, the iPad 9. So I just wanted to talk about, in my opinion, if it is actually worth it for most people to spend, actually in this case, double the money on the iPad Air over a base model iPad. Again, in this case, iPad 9. Of course, you can also get the iPad 10, which is even a little bit faster than the iPad 9. So I think for most people, it is not actually worth spending the extra money. So right now, these are both on sale. And you guys, $500 for the Air versus about $250 for the iPad 9. So you're spending double the money. Or if you go with the iPad 10, it is $350. So you're still saving $150 over the Air. And even the iPad 9 is still a very, very fast device. And again, I don't think most people really need to spend the extra money on the iPad Air. Now, of course, if you have the extra money and you can spend it, of course, it is a better option, but it's not that much better. So, show off a few scenarios here. So we'll go to bestbuy.com, and both have been to this website before. See, in this instance, the iPad 9 actually beat the Air. We'll go ahead and hit this. So for web browsing, they are almost identical. Some cases iPad 9 will win, other cases the iPad Air will win. Go ahead and we'll hit this. Best Buy is a little bit more of a heavier website to load in. Ooh, it's on sale. Heavier website to load in, and you can see both these are still very, very fast. And again, there's not much difference in speed, in browsing speed here. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. We'll do some gaming for a moment here. So we'll go into Pokemon Unite. Of course, I can only do this one at a time here. But let these both load in so you guys can see how quickly they load in Pokemon Unite. I should mention too, like I said, this has M1 processor in it, that has the A13 processor in it. So starting off here with the iPad Air 5, iPad Air M1, whatever you want to call it, you see graphics settings are high and highest, or graphics quality is highest, frame rate is going to be on high. So we're just in a practice area here just to show this off. You can see there is an FPS counter up in the top right. You see that is at 60 frames per second, and that will stay at 60 frames per second. So let's go ahead and let's do some fighting here. If you guys watch that counter, it is going to be stuck at 60 frames per second. I'm sure this iPad could do more, but I believe Pokemon Unite is stuck at 60 frames per second. I don't think anything can go above that, at least tablet wise. So again, see 60 frames per second, iPad Air. Going over to the iPad 9, again, highest graphics and high frame rate, so same as the Air. Basically, they are maxed out. And again, we're just going into the practice area here. And once again, FPS counter is at 60 frames per second. So once again, just like with the web browsing, they are very, very similar to each other. Bigger difference is going to be the screen size, 10.2 inches versus 10.9 on the Air. That might be the biggest thing you'll notice. And you can see how well these play. Again, FPS counter is stuck at 60. Again, I do believe Pokemon Unite just makes it stuck at 60. Otherwise, I'm sure both these could go above that. Or it's probably also that their frame rate is only 60 frames per second, if I'm not mistaken. So I really do think that most people would be more than happy, more than fine with the iPad 9 or an iPad 10. I don't think most people need to buy the iPad Air unless you have the extra money and don't mind spending it. Then of course you can go even a step further and get the Pro. But again, I don't really know if there's much reason for most people, unless you're doing some crazy editing like 4K videos or doing maybe some Photoshop, stuff like that. But I think for most people, most people out there, I do think iPad base models are more than fine, as they are way faster than a lot of other tablets. Even tablets in its price range or above its price range, they're actually going to be pretty much faster than a lot of other tablets out there. But yeah, you all let me know what you think. Now, of course, like I did say, there are some differences. Of course, there's some differences but I think the biggest one is going to be the design iPad, at least on iPad 9 here. On iPad 9 you have the older display, you have the older look, you have the button down there still. It just looks like an older iPad. Again, step up to the iPad 10, it looks more modern, where this is, again, looks more like what the iPad Air does. But I think that's really the biggest difference. And then again, talking about the iPad 9, you have two speakers, they're both on the bottom. They sound okay, but they're both on the bottom. Where on the Air, they are on either side. But again, you go to the iPad 10, and you have speakers on either side as well. But yeah, you all let me know what you think. I really don't think, for most people, there's much reason to go and spend the extra money on an iPad Air over a base mount iPad, even on the iPad 9. But yeah, you all let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.